But Boots had other ideas.
Oh. Sometimes it's very easy to spot bad training techniques. Techniques that are not based on evidence and might actually cause a lot of harm to the dogs. But that's not always the case. I'm going to review this video from the Dogfather, which is a famous dog trainer from England, I believe, and tell you what I think about his methods. Full disclaimer, I haven't watched this video before. I didn't even hear about this dog trainer before, except for some of you who asked me to review his videos. So let's take a look.
Graeme is heading to Birmingham to meet Debbie.
Bless you.
When her Jack Russell passed away, she hoped her new pooch would become her little cuddle companion.
Good girl, lie down then.
But Boots had other ideas.
Oh.
Boots doesn't like to be touched. She snarls, she shows her teeth, and then she spins and bites her tail.
That's actually very interesting. It's not just that she's showing those aggressive signs, but it's also that she's doing this spinning and biting her own tail. Let's watch a little bit more and see if I can think of an explanation that the dog will do that as well.
Come on then. Good girl.
Debbie's tried almost everything. But Boots continues to refuse her affection.
She's bitten my fingers too many times to count. And those teeth are sharp.
You see how she continues to spin around even like 20-30 seconds after the owner looked at her or tried to communicate with her or interact with her. That's definitely not something we usually see. It's very, very extreme. Also, for some of you that watched it and saw that she was actually wagging her tail before she started growling or while she was growling, you should know that tail wagging is not necessarily an indication of a good thing in the dog's eyes. It really depends on how the tail is being wagged.
That's not a pretty face, is it? That reaction was just me putting my hand out. She sees it as some sort of threat.
That's actually something good. The owner is aware of a few things. One, that this face probably in her case indicates an emotional state that means leave me alone or don't try to touch me. Two, if she is making this face, it means that the owner should probably stay away. So she knows that this precedes an aggressive attack. And knowing means that she's able to hopefully avoid it and even change it later down the road.
It's touchy.
Yeah, that's very scary. This is a very, very aggressive behavior.
Debbie had hoped she could give Boots a better life.
She belonged to an ex-work colleague of mine, and every now and again he'd bring her into work. Calm down then. She'd stay in the car, which I thought was a bit odd, and then I said, oh, let her out, let's play with her on the grass. He went, oh no, she doesn't like people.
Okay, so basically this owner is a saint. She took a dog that she already knew that something was probably going on. Also, going back to the dog's behavior a second ago, you saw that she was laying her head on the owner's, but at the same time, she was doing this lip licking, and that is also a very good sign that she is in some sort of emotional stress. The staring, on the other hand, might not necessarily be a bad thing. Dogs do stare at people because this is how they read our intentions and our emotional state.
Get Mr. Pumpkin. Well, he was saying if they couldn't find somebody else who was prepared to take her on, they were considering the worst option of all of having her put down. What you doing? Don't do that. I thought give her a different environment, different person, maybe the behaviour will change with time, and that's what I was hoping.
And she's right, sometimes that's actually enough. Sometimes taking the dog from that previous environment or from people that might have purposely or accidentally caused the dog to behave this way will solve everything. But sadly, not always.
We've learnt to live with each other in a state of ignorance. If I try and interact with her, she'll growl at me, or she'll show her teeth, or she'll bark and spin. So we just have a very apart relationship, unless I'm playing with her toys.
All right, that's actually a good thing. We do know that at least there's one interaction that is a positive one, and it seems like the dog is enjoying it and not showing aggression, hopefully, and that's playing with the toys. Many times people ask me, and what if my dog is not treat motivated? Well, the answer is look for your dog's motivation. So in her case, for example, looks like it's playing with toys.
Just gonna go again. When I had my last dog, we would sprawl out on the settee at night watching the telly or reading or anything like that, and he'd be lying on top of me, just snuggled in beside me, looking for some fuss. Why have a dog that you can't even stroke? Where's the companionship in that?
And I know it's kind of like cold to say, but in a way, I might agree. It's really hard to have a dog and not actually have the ability to enjoy having the dog, and that's the interaction with the dog. And quickly, before we go into what the dog trainer is going to do, let's think a little bit about this tail chasing that's so odd that she's doing it right after she's having like this bad experience. What might cause it? And by the way, if you have more thoughts about it, I will be happy to learn about it too, so please write it down in the comments. I'm thinking of a few things. One can be actually some sort of a compulsive disorder, or in people we sometimes call it OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. In dogs, we don't know if they actually obsess about it, but they do have the compulsive behavior, this running around in circles and biting herself. Many times it might actually be triggered by a high arousal state. So, for example, here's something that might also trigger her aggression. Another reason might fall under the category of displacement behavior. Displacement behavior technically is usually more of a normal behavior that's just being done in a very extreme way. So for example, that lip licking that I mentioned earlier is considered a displacement behavior. What else? It can actually be some sort of a learned behavior. So for example, whenever the dog was doing this behavior in the past with the past owners, she was being rewarded for doing this behavior, and kind of like those dogs that automatically sit whenever you're trying to interact with them and they don't really know what to do. Maybe this dog, instead of sitting, is walking around in circles and biting herself. But it is clear that frustration and stress is definitely the trigger for the behavior itself. Hopefully, by reducing that stress or by avoiding that trigger, this behavior will also go away. If it is a compulsive disorder, sadly sometimes that might not be enough, and then you actually need to use medications like Prozac.
Oh, hello.
Can Graeme
Come on in.
Thank you very much.
turn things around?
Hello, come here then. She's cute.
Oh, yeah, she's lovely until you touch her.
All right.
Yeah.
So how long have you had her then?
I've had her 2 years next month.
Okay.
I took her from an old work colleague of mine who was experiencing the same problems.
Right.
And they'd just reached the end of the tether, and I couldn't see a healthy dog put down.
No.
So,
Oh, bless you.
Behavioral euthanasias are one of the most horrific things. It's really hard to do for the owners, for the veterinarian, and many people will do it for liability reasons. So for example, if the dog attacked someone and they want to prove that they weren't just sitting and not doing anything, they will elect to euthanize the dog. But in some cases, the owners just don't know how to help the dog, or the veterinarian might actually push the owners into euthanizing because the veterinarian doesn't have enough knowledge on behavior. But it's never an easy thing. I'm happy to say that I never actually had to do it.
We need to have a little look at what's going on. Do you mind showing me?
Yeah, sure. Boots, come here then.
When Debbie reaches out, Boots kicks off.
It's like somebody flicked a switch there.
It's intimidating.
This, I have to say, I really hate. The fact that he's asking her to show the behavior. I mean, the fact that we have so much footage, even before he came, of the dog doing the behavior is enough. There's nothing new to learn here. So why just stress the dog? Why not start working on the treatment? Why? Because this makes better TV.
Makes me feel like she doesn't care about me. She doesn't love me at all.
Has there ever been a time when you've been able to stroke her then?
I'm allowed to begrudgingly stroke her when I feed her.
Oh, right.
And with the muzzle on.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, let me have a little look at that, just see what it looks like. That might give me a clue as to what's
That's
going
actually
on
going to
there.
be interesting to watch.
Oh.
Got me.
With the muzzle on, Boots appears to be far more compliant.
Good girl.
But there's more to this than meets the eye.
First, the fact that she got bitten when she was placing the muzzle on the dog is a bad sign. It's not a bad thing to train a dog to wear a muzzle, and in some cases we actually need to use it for safety. But if you can't safely put it on the dog, it means that the dog is not muzzle trained, and that makes it dangerous. That's exactly what we're seeing here. Second, and we actually didn't see this yet, but the fact that she's thinking that putting the muzzle makes the dog better doesn't necessarily mean what she is thinking, because, for example, it might actually be learned helplessness. The dog just knows that, oh, now my defense mechanism, my weapon, is taken away from me. I can't really do anything to protect myself, so I'll just freeze, and hopefully the threat is going to go away fast.
Her ears are all a bit like this, her tail's down, and she's licking lips, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's not happy dog, is she? It's interesting though, she's complying. She's not fighting, yeah?
Then Graeme spots a vital clue.
Oh, that's interesting. She's turning her bum towards you. Interesting. I just know there's a sweet dog in there trying to come out, and it's just a terrible shame for both of them that Boots won't sort of explore that feeling of being stroked, you know?
So again, yes, she does allow the owner to pet her, and she might kind of like move to a specific angle that will allow petting where she wants it. But the fact that she has the muzzle on in order to do it, and the fact that she agrees to being touched, doesn't necessarily mean that the muzzle is making her feel good. I think in this case, it's just the opposite. Again, learn helplessness. She's basically kind of like freezing.
Right. She clearly doesn't like being touched.
Yeah.
And she's found a brilliant method of preventing it. She's horrible. But when the muzzle came out, I thought she'd fight against it, you know, and you were there with your hand, and she's like, actually, would you mind? You know, that feeling there, that tiny little glimmer of her going, maybe I'd like to explore this.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I
Let's have
don't
more
think
of
so.
that curiosity. That'd be great.
What's this then?
To encourage Boots's curiosity,
It's all right. It's all right. Good girl.
Graham's keen to recreate the magic moment where she felt most at ease.
Girl.
That means starting with the muzzle on.
Okay, before we continue, did you notice that she was actually touching her dog? She was holding her hand underneath the dog's jaw while she was placing the muzzle on, and the dog wasn't trying to bite her and going around in circles, meaning that, again, there's some editing and something here that doesn't really fit the entire narrative that they're trying to give us, and probably the owner might be able to touch the dog in specific ways and specific situations without always getting bitten by the dog.
A little tickle, will she?
Yeah.
There you go.
No, you can see even through the muzzle that she's retracting her lips to the back. So she's not enjoying
There you go.
this.
And stop. Need to stop before she's rounded.
Right, okay.
Desperate to bond with Boots,
There we go.
Debbie's being too hands-on.
So the secret is a little bit. That's
Yeah.
it. If you keep going, and she starts to growl,
Yeah.
we're going to end up making it worse and worse. I know it's so tempting because you must be thinking,
I don't get to do this.
yeah, I want to do more. But if you do loads too soon,
Yeah.
it'll come crashing down.
With this, I do agree, because we do need to avoid the trigger as much as possible. We do need to not touch the dog if we know that that's what makes the dog bite.
Good
That's it.
girl.
And stop. So I like this because your hand's just hanging there naturally, and she's like, do that again, maybe?
Or she's staying there to kind of like warn her off. Like you might have seen in movies, or maybe you had an interaction like that when someone kind of like goes in your face and like, what are you gonna do about it? Basically staying there to make sure that you're not gonna do something that she doesn't want the owner to do. Her body language, very, very, very tense. So it doesn't seem, at least at this part, that she's actually enjoying being petted or anything like that.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
With some guidance from Graeme,
That's enough.
Debbie nails the timing,
Look at this. Isn't that amazing?
and she's learning how to play hard to get.
That's creating that desire. It's like, oh, but I want more. This is being driven by you now.
It is, it's brilliant. She's got such a soft head.
Playing hard to get, she's standing there like a block of ice, no tail wagging, her ears are tight, her face is tight, she's like barely moving.
Such a soft head.
Yeah. And the dog.
She looks chilled.
She does.
Yeah.
You're right.
You look relaxed now.
No, she doesn't look relaxed.
With Boots looking calm,
There we go.
it's time to test Graeme's theory.
Good. Little tickle.
But will she be as relaxed with the muzzle off when she's free to snap at Debbie's fingers?
Little tickle. Well, isn't that lovely?
That actually is a lot better. So maybe the fact that she took off the muzzle is making the dog less stressed. And again, I can't say for sure because of the editing, but it did seem that she was able to touch the dog in the head even in order to put the muzzle without the dog trying to bite or anything like that. So maybe she could have done this from the start, very slowly, very gradually, without the muzzle. I'm not recommending anyone to try this at home because, again, you need to have a lot of knowledge of body language and all of that important information before you can actually do stuff like that. So many times using a muzzle is a very good idea. But again, if the dog is actually more stressed because of the muzzle, if the dog is not muzzle trained and it makes them even more fearful or freezing like she was, probably not the best solution.
Tickle. Well, isn't that lovely? Hey?
Yay!
Ah, clever girl. Isn't that lovely? There. How's that feel?
Oh, it's fabulous.
She really wants more. Look at that.
With a newfound connection, this terrier shows Debbie
So beautiful.
she's no longer tough as old Boots.
Yeah, from that 2 seconds, a few minutes, a day even of good interactions, don't think that the dog already generalized everything and now she's going to be a sweet angel. All it takes is for her to be pushed just a little bit and not on purpose, and she's gonna go back to biting. So be aware. Aggressive dogs, sadly, might always be more likely to become aggressive even without warning compared to dogs that were never showing any aggression before that.
Really pleased with this.
Yeah, me too.
So we'll quit while we're ahead and we leave her just wanting more. Look at that. Lovely. Well, I'll love you and leave you. So,
Fantastic.
You've been amazing, you have.
This is actually really interesting, and they didn't say anything about that. How is she interacting with strangers? They didn't show any of those aggressive behaviors and tail chasing when he walked in, right? And now here it seems like he's able to pet her without her growling at him or anything like that. So why is that? Why is it only with the owners? Now there are a lot of questions that I would be happy to ask the owners. For example, did she show that behavior with you from the get-go, or was she only doing it after some time of you and her together? Does she show this behavior outside when you're walking her? Does she show this behavior to strangers, to other dogs? You know, a lot of questions that are actually very, very important in order to get to a diagnosis. And that's the problem with these videos. They look like, wow, this is amazing. We just solved the problem, but, you know, editing.
Some dogs, you know, you remember forever. I think she might be
She might be one of them, yeah.
Yeah, you're amazing, you are. Right, good girl. Take care.
See ya.
Well, that's gone really well.
I wish I had those special powers of just walking in the house, telling the owner, put the muzzle on, touch her just a little bit, not too fast. Oh, we solved the problem. But I don't have those powers. Sadly, I'm burdened with living in reality.
She's coming back for more again and again and again. It's great. I mean, we've gone from a dog who didn't want to be touched to a dog who's almost addicted to it.
Look at her. I mean, she wants attention and fuss. It's unbelievable. What more can you say? A huge difference to my life. A huge difference.
Amazing. What can I say? I mean, I would love all of the videos to kind of like end on a positive note, and I will also like to know what you think about this video. Yes, this is not like most of the videos that I review. I mean, I don't see here any use of prong collars, any use of aversive methods and stuff like that, but the fact that you put a muzzle on a dog and then basically, you know, force them into some sort of an interaction might actually be also aversive. I just don't know what to say about this video that much, right? Because of how it's edited, it might be a lot better, it might be a lot worse than what actually happened in real life. I guess we'll never know, unless I'll do another review of a different video. Let me know if you'd like me to do that. But in the meanwhile, like, subscribe, even share this video if you feel like you learned something, because it's really important for the channel to grow. And why not watch this video next?